inkproducts.com has now released its newest refill kit and the removable chips. I'm going to show you how to fill the cartridges and prime them for the first time, and then I'm going to take you to the machine and show you how to install them and to replace the chips. Very simple. A lot of my videos always make this little box. That's so I can put the cartridge in there, the bottle of ink, my syringe and fill tip, and this way I don't have to worry about knocking over that cartridge when I'm filling it. I'm going to refill the magenta in the video, and then you'll be able to fill all the other ones exactly the same way. When you first get the cartridges, there's a little plug that you have to remove. That's the fill hole. That is what they call the vent hole. You've got ink in there, and now you've got to allow air to go in so the ink can come out. Now, sometimes when you get the cartridges, there's a little storage plug right here. You want to take them out. You don't want to ever leave them in when they're in the printer. So you're going to put it in the little box. Now, this is the way I do it. You may not want to do it that way, but I find it's a lot easier. This way I don't have to hold the cartridge. Okay, now let me get over here. Now I'm going to fill up the syringe. Now this is a 12 milliliter syringe. That's approximately how much that cartridge holds. Now if it was an Epson cartridge, it would only hold about 5. So I'm going to fill it all the way up. There we go. And then I'm going to have some paper towel handy so I can wipe it off. Then I'm going to go in here into the fill hole. Don't put it in that vent hole, because it'll come right back out at you. So go in and slowly fill it. You're going to be able to put in just about all of that ink. Now once I get the ink in, all the way in, take it out and show you. You've got 3 circles. Now this one here is the important one. We're going to fill that one with ink, or almost with ink. Now when you first get it, the set of cartridges is what you have to do. So, I filled it up. I'm going to put the plug back in the fill hole. I'm sorry, I'm going to put it back in the vent hole. So, put the plug in. Got it in. Now I'm going to take the tip off. So I made a little place in the box here. I can just put the tip in like that and just unscrew the syringe off. Now you don't have to wash out these syringes. You shouldn't. And they'll say on it, you know, discard after use. That's because they're veterinarian syringes. But you don't have to. If you wash them out, you're going to damage the little plunger. So don't do it. Now, I'll put the syringe right in that fill hole. I snug it in there. It's nice and snug down in there. Then I can pull up. I'm going to do this 3 times. I'm going to hold this, pull up 3 times, all the way up, and then I'm going to let go. Do it again, let go. Now what that is doing, it's actually filling up that little circle, which is like a little meter. So that's very important. That has to have some ink in it, because that helps meter the ink out to the print head. I'll do it one more time. Now sometimes you might want to go in and top the cartridge off a little bit more. I would not, but sometimes people say, oh, I can get a little bit more ink in there. That's fine. Okay, now I take the syringe out. Okay. Take the fill plug out of the vent hole, put it back in, and that's it. Now later in the video I'm going to show you how to replace the chip. Very simple to do. And every time the chip says cannot be recognized, you're going to replace all the chips. I'll explain that later in the video. New, it's brand new out of the box, our Epson Workforce 2650. I've already put our cartridges in that I just showed earlier in the video. They're in the printer now. I'll bring on the screen. This out, I allowed the very newest firmware by Epson. But by rights, you should not allow it to do any firmware updates. Sometimes it'll detect the aftermarket or clone chip and shut it down. These COC smart chips are very good. But because this printer uses rotating serial numbers, that's why you'll never get a chip that'll be able to roll over. You have to always change the chip. It's the only way to get around it. It's the way the Epson built this. Now the Epson cartridges, they hold very little ink. Maybe 4 or 5 milliliters of ink. XLs, probably a little bit more. Now I'll point this out also so you know. You can print out various reports that'll tell you what your firmware is, how many prints you've made on the printer. You just print out all these status reports, you know, history use, and then supplies. Now these cartridges that are in there now with our smart chips are XL, extra, and how you restart all over again. Now these cartridges from Epson, even the XLs, are based on 5 or 8% originals. What I'm going to be running is almost full coverage. But I got to do that for the video so I can speed up this process. Because you can get hundreds of prints out of this. And we're using the Ultra Pro pigment ink that we developed for this. It's American-made ink. And we don't recommend dye base. We find that this pigment ink that the printer was designed for just works awesome. And it prints photos perfect. You don't have to worry about that. You just can't use some of the shiny, glossy paper that you used to use. You still get glossy paper, but it's got to be made for pigment ink. Standard setting, plain paper standard. But I'm going to set it on higher quality because I want to go through this ink quicker, just for the video. But not bad. That Ultra Pro pigment ink is awesome. Waterproof, archival proof. Just to point out, sometimes you see a little band across there. That means you might have to clean your print head. Even with the Epson cartridges, that's you have to do. I like to set it on high quality. I feel that the print heads last longer, and I do less cleaning, so actually I save more ink. It slows the printer down a little bit, but it all depends on what you're printing and how fussy you want to be. Those color test sheets here, and now I'm finally getting, it's finally saying that ink is low on the cyan, the magenta, and the yellow. It's not reporting that my black is low. Now you're going to start to see this come up. And when you get cannot recognize, we're going to take it out, refill up the cartridges, and put new chips on. And when we put it in, ink levels will be back up. You'll be back printing again. But the quality is excellent. Now I've got it on best printing, of course. But I've printed out a lot. Now don't forget their page yields are based on anywhere from 5 to 8% originals. Well, this is a lot more than that. So I've got probably about 1,000 or more sheets of solid color here in high quality mode. I'm going to keep letting it run till we get the error code, and I'll show you how in the rest of the video to put the chips on. I already showed you how to fill the cartridges. Now it's saying the magenta cannot be recognized. That's when I'm going to take them out, and I'm going to fill them all and replace the chips on all of them. That's very important because of the chip code. We don't want to start mixing different chips because that might cause a problem down the road with chip codes. So we're going to say OK to proceed. Lift up the top. It's going to come over. Now I'm going to take the magenta out just for a second and show you. I still have plenty of ink left in it. But if I were to go back in and just put a chip on there, then it would run out when I'm empty. So I don't want that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go fill all of these up, and in the next part of the video show you how simple it is to replace the chip. Just finished the yellow. Now I'm going to go in and fill up the magenta. Now you don't have to replace the chip yet. I'll wait till I get them filled up, then I'll show you how. Now I'm going and filling up the cyan now. If you notice, I didn't have to prime it up like when we first got the cartridges, because they don't go empty. As long as they don't go empty, ink stays in those little meter chambers where they meter out the ink, and you don't have to do it. All I'm doing is adding ink and putting the plug back in. The chip on, I'll start with the yellow. It's very simple to take the chip off. Use a little screwdriver. I'm going to go right up underneath the clip right here. Just push down on it. That's it. Chip's all ready to come off. That's it. Now I can take the chip that I've marked as yellow. That's very important. And then it's going to just slide right on the way that one came off. Just get it under there and just slide it on. That's it. That's how simple it was to replace the chip. Do all of them exactly the same way. Just slides off, slide the new one on. The chip has to be replaced. They all have to be replaced to keep the serial numbers in consecutive order. So when you order the chips from our website, we know what chips to send you out, because the first set is set 1, 2, 3. We have up to 150 sets. It's a lot easier replacing 4 chips than to buy one Epson cartridge, especially for this printer, because there's no ink in those cartridges. Put new chips on. I'm just going to check the cartridges. You cannot use the same chips over and over again. Once the printer recognizes a certain chip number or serial number, you can't use it again. It's going in its charge. That's it. We're done. That's how simple it was. So the next set will have a different serial number, the next set, and you just keep doing it like that. Like I said, it's a lot cheaper to replace 4 chips than it is to buy one Epson cartridge. And the quality is just awesome with our Ultra Pro pigment ink. Filled them, put the new chips on, close the lid, printer just started to take off, finishing what it needs to print. It's finishing all the prints I had left in the printer. Didn't even have to do anything. Just fill it, put it in, and you can see the quality. It's awesome. These COC Smart chips just work excellent. And being XLs, you get a lot of prints out of these chips and cartridges. So why go to the store and spend the money for these Epson cartridges? Now I'm going to take a look at the ink levels. And they're all back full again, all of them. And that's the way you got to do it. You fill the cartridges, replace the chips, and it always happens when you get one of them will say cannot recognize. That's when you want to take it out, or actually take them all out, fill them, and replace the chip set. And the way we do it is we sell it by, when you get the first set of cartridges, that's set 1. Then we include another set, set 2. And if you go up on our website, you can order your next sets, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 150 sets. And we'll be adding more serial numbers, so we'll even go over the 150. So for more information, go to inkproducts.com.